problems were it was 14 to 16 years old, so the cabinets and the floors and the walls all needed some pretty good help to bring them back up to where we expected.
Cabinets were probably contract grade and were falling off in some places. The flooring was starting to pull up. We had an island that was taking out a good chunk of space in our dining area. So we wanted to get that pulled back in so we could get some more space in that area. I went through ads and looked through some recommendations online, and actually talked to a couple people and got a few names, and then got some information from Justin, and we met with him.
Yeah, so it was pretty much just doing a normal search. We didn't go out for bids on it. We were pretty comfortable with Justin and Adria and what they had and their showroom, and yeah, everything kind of went together pretty fast for us.
Mm-hmm.
They had a good plan, a good presentation. They had a good showroom. They had fairly modern technology to do renderings. They were very supportive of what was available for materials and colors, and they asked a lot of good questions that we were fairly comfortable with to match what we were expecting. They were certainly accommodating to that.
Justin spent a lot of time with us just the first night we met him, going through what we were looking for, looking at the house, taking pictures, starting to draw things up, and really kind of made us very comfortable with how the process would go for us.
We couldn't change the kitchen layout very much, so that was kind of a static part of it. So we worked within the space we had and kind of tried to mimic and improve what was originally there.
And Adria was very helpful with the design piece of things. I'm not one of those people who has a distinct vision of what we're looking for. So kind of getting started with the color palette, and then her providing samples of what would work with it and options to work with, and then pulling it all together was really helpful.
I could see what it looked like or what it was going to look like, but to have it in a 3D and have all the renderings done and be able to change them fairly rapidly if we didn't like a white sink versus a black sink, or some of the colors or the layouts, it was really nice to have that option to quickly go through it and make decisions based off of what we were thinking.
Having to try and visualize it in your mind, the renderings made it so much easier to make those decisions and to get a real feel for what it was going to look like. And when you look at the renderings versus what we have, it's very, very similar.
Nothing major. The contractors all respected the property. They were timely. We didn't really have any gaps in the schedule at all. There was somebody here basically every day doing something. We did share some concerns that we had, and they were addressed right away, and we don't have any residual things that have to get resolved at all. So yeah, they were responsive, they were concerned. It was a good experience with the crew that he had brought on as contractors, as well as Adria and Justin's support, and Brian as well,
Yeah, Brian,
the project manager.
We did have concerns or questions. They were always available for answering or sending us messages before we even asked the question if there was a change in plans or anything.
Justin had a Gantt chart that he had laid out with what was supposed to happen, and they never really had a reason to follow it because everybody was either on or ahead of schedule. So Brian, the project manager, kept us informed on who was going to be there and when. With all the communication that they had with us, we didn't have any doubts of what was happening when. So
schedule was almost right on. They told us 8 weeks, and I think we were pretty much right on schedule for finishing. And
budget-wise, nothing
that came up
that changed.
No.
We had a good space downstairs to live, and we had our food cooking and eating arrangements, so we really didn't have to leave the house. The dogs were fairly decent with everything that was going on. I was getting a little anxious at the end, the last week or so, because you could see things coming together and just about finished, so getting a little anxious on trying to wrap it up and get our house back together. So I would say the last week was the most anxious I was, just because I could see everything was finished. And
Yeah, I don't think we were anxious during the process that things weren't moving along. You could see it coming, but I would say that last week's been the hardest, just because you know you're so close and you're just ready to have everything back. And
it looks a lot different. We have to get the furniture in this weekend, so we'll have a better idea of how everything kind of fits together. But for me, the space just looks so much more modern, so much more useful. It looks larger, even though we didn't do anything except for the center islands a little bit smaller. But it certainly is going to be a lasting investment for us. So
yeah, my favorite is just how much bigger and brighter the space looks, even though we haven't done anything really significant as far as taking anything out or adding anything in. But the space just looks so much bigger, and the quality of the work is just fantastic.
The weight in the investment just to make the space more livable and usable and comfortable is well worth it.
Yeah, I have no regrets about doing the project. I think it was well worth it.
They're friendly, they're responsive, they have a good grasp on the technologies that are available to help people make choices. They have a good network, and it just made it very comfortable on working with them and their whole process that they've developed in their business. It's nice to see that connection with clients instead of just walking into like a big showroom and trying to work with a salesperson. These were, they developed a friendship with everybody, including ourselves.
Yeah, the rapport they create from the very beginning, and trying to find out what you want and trying to come to your point of where you're seeing your dream or your vision come to life, and yeah, creating a friendship and trying to get to know you as people and how that influences what you want in your design. And they are just so responsive and very easy to work with. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have an idea, or you're not sure what to think, they're there to answer questions and be very helpful.